Hello, everybody. Christina Simmons from Say Yes to Holiness here. So I am in the process of taking all of this live on Facebook. So, all right. Hello, everybody. I'm now here, Christina Simmons, live on Facebook. So I am, and also on Instagram. So I'm in the process of trying to get all of this together. And so hopefully I will be able to get this figured out. Going live. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, it's now being live streamed. Excellent. So welcome, everybody. So glad that you guys are all here today. Awesome. So I'm going to be trying to make sure that I'm attentive to comments in the Instagram and then also here within the Zoom call. So if you're here within the Zoom call, go ahead and tell everybody where you're from. And then also, what is it that you're most hoping to learn about tonight? And the same thing for everybody who is on Instagram. What is it that you're hoping to learn tonight? Want to make sure that this training is highly valuable for everyone who is here. And I wanted to make sure that I answer your questions. So make sure to put your comments there. And then I will be attentive to all of them as best as I can. So again, I am in Facebook Live on my Say Yes to Holiness page. And sorry about that. I had to put myself on Zoom. So that way I'm able to also track comments in Facebook. So hopefully I'll be able to track it all and be able to engage and have fun with you guys tonight. So this is going to be fast and furious. So just as a reminder, I did a training almost 2 weeks ago, back on June 26th, which is kind of part one of Unhackable. And what it was is that I shared some information which you can find also for yourself if you want to read it in Unhackable by Carrie Oberbrunner. And so what I did is that I kind of gave you the fast and dirty of what it is to become unhackable. And I really focused upon the content that was there, but it's something where I am a certified coach and speaker and trainer about Unhackable. And there is so much information that's there. We could spend weeks on it. And so glad you're able to join me today. Hello, hello, hello. We're doing Unhackable training, but we're really focusing upon flow tonight. And some of you might have heard about flow, but the last time that we got together, I really wanted to nug into how is it that you can make your best ideas come true. I'm doing great, Crystal. So glad to see you on Instagram. And also, how is it that you can tap into your hidden abilities? And how we do that is with crystal clear focus. So I posed the question and I'm going to pose it again tonight for those of you who weren't able to join me last time, but I wanted to pose the same question. What would you need to have happen in your life to make these next 30 days the most amazing on planet Earth for you? What would be those 1 to 3 things that you would need to have happen so that that way these next 30 days would be the most amazing possible? And that's part of what I'm going to be focusing upon tonight. So go ahead and take a moment, write down what would be those 1 to 3 things. Would it be that you would be able to figure out what your purpose is? In other words, maybe it's that business idea that has been kind of lingering, but you've never taken the time in order to really bring it to fruition. Could it be that you've been in the process of doing this major project and you want to get it done and you need to get crystal clear focus so that that way you're able to do that? Or could it be that you need to get into flow? And that's where we're going to be really focusing tonight, is how can we become 500% more productive in both work and life. And I'm going to talk about that tonight. So again, unhackability consists of three parts. It consists of your idea, it consists of your focus, and it consists of flow. And we talked about idea and focus last time. And in particular way, we talked about how we get hacked. And by getting hacked, that means that we get distracted. We get, our ideas get put on hold. We just get consumed with these to-do lists, don't we? So welcome everybody who's jumping in on Instagram, everybody who is on Facebook. Make sure that if you have any comments or questions, that you go ahead and put them in the chat. You go ahead and reply, give me a comment. I want to make sure that I'm answering your questions tonight during this time. But last time we talked about the differences, and there's literal differences between a brain that's been hacked and a brain that has been unhacked. And this is what is so important, is for us to remember that there are some serious costs to us getting hacked, and that really impacts our relationships. It impacts our work life. It impacts so many different aspects of our life. It impacts our finances. It impacts our peace. It impacts how, our health. It impacts how it is that, we feel joy and experience joy. And it impacts the legacy and that we want to leave for our children. So there's all sorts of costs that come from getting hacked. And we talked about those last time. And then also about how is it that we can tap into our hidden abilities. And we do this by using flawless idea anatomy, of how it is that we craft that idea, of how we cultivate that idea, how we get clarity and focus on the idea, and then how do we make those ideas come true? And that's through deliberate magnetic focus. And there's three aspects of focus. There's different focus filters that we can use in order to be able to get crystal clear about what it is that we want to be about. And those focus filters are urgency, agency, and action. And we use those filters in order to get super clear about what it is that we're supposed to be doing right now, so that way we don't get distracted by those things that we don't need to be doing right now, but rather we're attentive to doing the next best thing that we can do right now to bring about that idea, so that we are being a part of that creative process. So that's actually what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is, many times people associate it with just being in business. You're an entrepreneur, you're bringing your own business, creating it. But an entrepreneur is anyone who brings an idea and makes it reality. And that's what the Unhackable process is about empowering you to be able to take whatever idea it has been, that desire, that idea that's been in your heart and in your mind for so long, and it gives you the process that you can apply, so that way you are able to make it real in your life. And that's how we become unhackable. That's how we experience those amazing, lives of purpose and peace and abundance. So tonight, I want to focus upon how do we become 500% more productive in work and life. Many of you might have heard of a thing called flow. And I always tell people that Unhackable is a great place to start in talking about flow and getting to know what it is, kind of a layman's term. But if you want to go really deep, there are people that have been doing this for decades. So Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and when you see his name, you would never pronounce it that way. But he is the godfather. He is the grandfather of flow. And it was he who first was able to determine that there is such a thing as flow. And he was helping us be able to define it. And Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, what he did is that he defined flow very simply as the peak performance state where you do your best and feel your best? How many of you out there want to do your best and feel your best all the time? I know I do. I want to be my best self. I want to be able to do my best. I want to be able to bring all my creative, energies to everything that I'm doing. I want to be able to be fully present in my relationships with my family, with my friends, with everything that I'm about. I want to be fully engaged, and I want to be at my best self and feeling my best as well. And that's what flow is. And we've been designed for flow. Believe it or not, we have been designed for flow. And many of you out there have probably experienced flow. So, flow is also been known as runner's high. I'm a former runner, and I can remember sometimes of where I had a performance that I didn't see it coming. And I remember that performance now, that run, that setting that personal record, and where I'm just like in awe. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I had that in me. When I was doing multi-sport races, I'm an Ironman athlete. I completed Ironman Canada, and all the training and everything that led up to that. And then that day, was it a lot of pain? Was it a big challenge? Absolutely. But it was absolutely amazing to be a part of that and to accomplish that. And this is what flow is like. So basketball, they talk about it, you're in the zone. I mean, he's on fire. He's shooting from everywhere and everything. He's just draining everything. And for a jazz musician, for all those musicians out there, playing in the pocket is another, playing in the pocket of being able to be in flow. You just know what the next notes are. You just know what is supposed to happen next. And time just kind of goes away. So there's actually 8 characteristics of flow. And those are total absorption, extreme focus, time dilation, vanishing sense of self, optimal high performance, shift in our brain waves, literal shift in our brain waves, it shortens the gap to mastery, and large amounts of neurochemicals are being released. So I just went through a whole 8 list, a list of 8 of them. Let me just very briefly go through each of those. So the first one is total absorption. And what that is that we become fully present. We go deep in the now. So oftentimes it's been called the deep now. And what happens is that the past loses its power and the future loses its promise. And what it is that we're not worried or concerned about what's coming tomorrow. We're not concerned or worried about what came yesterday. We're just fully present and engaged. And that's the deep now. Second characteristic I mentioned was extreme focus. And this is where, so for example, you all might have heard the story of Captain Sully, who landed the airplane that had bird strike and landed this airplane on the Hudson River. And everyone talks about the fact that it was a once in a lifetime. There was no way that this could have happened, that he could have been able to land the plane safely on the Hudson River, and he was able to do it. It came from all of his training, all of what he experienced before, and he was able to be so fully present and so extremely focused that he knew exactly what he needed to do in order to accomplish that amazing task. And it was called Miracle on the Hudson because of it. The other, third, time dilation. This is where we experience that time often speeds up or it slows down. How many of you, I know I have been so fully engaged in something that all of a sudden I look up and, oh my gosh, 6 hours has gone by. And you're just like, how did that happen? Could be like you're in deep conversation with someone. You're just having such a great conversation. And all of a sudden, poof, 6 hours has gone by. Or it could be something of where, you were doing a task and you thought it would take you a really long time. And then all of a sudden time just speeds up, or you're able to accomplish so much in a smaller amount of time than you ever have been able to accomplish anything before. Time slows down, but you are super productive. That is one of the characteristics of flow, is that time dilation. Fourth, vanishing sense of self. What does this mean? It means that we're no longer criticizing or thinking about what it is that we're sharing or talking about. So, our inner critic just shuts up. It doesn't matter anymore. So there's been numerous instances of where, especially creatives, performers, they'll be out on stage and it's just like, they'll give a amazing performance. Someone will say, what's up with that? And they'll be like, I just was so fully engaged in the character. I just lost myself. And that's what it is. So vanishing sense of self. Optimal high performance. This is the one that we're all looking for. And they have been studying this and they've been tracking this. So there was an article called Increasing the Meaning Quotient of Work. And again, so psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, he studied thousands of subjects from sculptors to factory workers. He asked them to record their feelings. And what he observed is that when people are fully employing their core capabilities to meet a goal or challenge, it creates flow. And these people become up to and beyond 500% productive because they're fully engaged. And they're able to maximize their capabilities. So very simply, what this means is that consider how much work you get done in a day, an average week. Now, imagine being 5 times more productive. What this means very simply is that not only you're more productive, you're also quicker about your tasks. And, so what happens is that you will accomplish more on Monday than everybody else gets accomplished all week. Anybody want to do that? A lot of people ask me, Christina, how do you do everything that you do? And it's a matter of I'm getting into flow and I'm utilizing, all these techniques that I'm talking about, but I'm getting into flow. So next, optimal high performance, shift in brain waves. It really happens. There is a fundamental shift in our brain waves, and the chemicals that are released, are what really help us be able to move and into flow and be able to, just do amazing things that people look at and go, oh my gosh, how are you doing that? So our brainwave shift. So there's 4 steps to flow. We enter into struggle. We then move into, we have a small release phase, and then we move into flow for deep work. And then we have active recovery, and we have to be attentive to all 4 aspects of the flow cycle in order for us to truly maximize flow, all these different aspects of what we would experience as characteristics. The 7th, and this is something that's fascinating. So this isn't just stuff that, business owners and, creatives are using. DARPA, okay, so the Defense Acquisition Research Agency, okay, DARPA, they are using this in order to train snipers to be better snipers. So they're doing this in which, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, I should know, I was in the military for 14 years and I still messed it up. Okay, but anyway, what they're doing is that they're using flow in order to shorten the gap from proficient to mastery, and they're using it, and it's absolutely amazing how being able to tap into flow has made people be able to master things. Anyone remember the movie, the Matrix movies? Okay, remember you remember how it was that Neo, they were able to download, jiu-jitsu, they're able to download, how to use weapons, or able to download all this stuff, and it was just like a download and up. That's exactly what flow is like, is that we're able to be able to process information so much more quickly. We're able to master it so much more quickly that it's like a download is going on. And we see this performance, athletics, especially extreme sports. So like one case in point, surfing, okay, they've been surfing for 1,000 years, okay, and 20 years ago, only 20 years ago, the biggest wave that was ridden was 25 feet. This is only 20 years ago. But today, surfers who actively engage in stepping into flow, all right, they are mastering waves 100 feet tall, okay? And the same thing with snowboarding. In 1992, the biggest gap ever cleared for a jump was 40 feet. Today, the jump is 230 feet. That's what happens when we are able to step into flow. So the final, of course, and I've alluded to it, the final one is that large amounts of neurochemicals are released. And so just to give you a sensing, so very, very simple. So the list of chemicals that gets released, okay? And Baby Yoda, amen, Crystal, Baby Yoda, I love it, I love it. So the chemicals that get released as we're going through the flow cycle. So these 4 steps, struggle, recover, release, flow, and recovery, okay? So norepinephrine, it increases our heart rate, our emotional control, and attention. The artificial way of getting this is speed, okay? Dopamine. This gives us our superhuman focus, pattern recognition, skill enhancing abilities. Dopamine is addictive. How do we know? Because cocaine is the artificial stimulant to get you dopamine. Endorphins. Okay, it helps us withstand discomfort. So we're not paying attention to any kind of discomfort or what's going on, but rather, but heroin and oxycontin are the artificial stimulants here. Anandamide, okay, this augments our lateral thinking. It helps us link contrasting ideas together. This is why so many people enjoy marijuana. Have anybody ever tell you after they've smoked marijuana that you're like, yeah, these connections, they just all came together? When you're in flow, that happens naturally. You don't need some sort of drug, and you don't need the after effects or the negatives that might come from, from smoking marijuana, for example. Okay. And finally, serotonin. Okay. So it helps us stay on task in spite of pain. And antidepressants help us do that. So again, those 4 aspects of flow are, again, struggle, release, flow, and then active recovery. And that entire cycle is what we're trying to get into. Now, you might be going, Christina, how is this possible? Okay, you're talking about this. This is awesome. I want more of it. Well, how do I do that? How do I step into that? Well, very simple. Flow triggers. And it used to be when they began this research back in the early 90s, when Chick High was starting this, they thought they'd identified 9. Well, subsequently, in the last 30 years, they now have 22. So 22 different flow triggers are out there. And it's so important for us. So I'm just going to rattle off a couple of them for you, okay, and highlight them for you. So autonomy, okay, you being able to have some say in how it is you do your work, when you do your work, is a huge factor for helping you being able to step into flow. So autonomy is a big thing. So think about that anytime you're telling your kids that they need to do something, okay, give them a little bit of autonomy to do it. Another flow trigger, curiosity, passion, purpose is a triad, okay? And what this is that when you are curious about something, passionate about something, and you know this is your purpose, man, you are all in. And that is a flow trigger for you. So individuals and teams who go fastest, farthest, are the ones that consistently are tapping into passion and into flow. So because these are all intrinsic motivators. So these are internal triggers: autonomy, curiosity, passion, purpose, triad. That's it. These are internal. Complete concentration, flow follows focus. And the only time the state will show up is when all of our attention is locked on the present moment and we're firmly targeting the task at hand, just like a sniper. When we are laser focused, that's when it happens. So that's complete concentration. When we have clear goals, helps us with that complete concentration. So they tell us where and when to put our attention. So this is where the value of having, for example, I talk about a plan of life, rule of life for this, for our spiritual life. Okay. Well, we need a plan of life, a rule of life for everything, to integrate everything. Why? Because we should be able to look at our schedule and go, it's 2 o'clock. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? What's my goal for right now? Where do I need to put my attention? And for how long do I need to place my attention? And when we have that clarity, we get certainty about what it is we're supposed to be about. Now, for those of you out there who are going, oh my gosh, that would be so restricting and I would never be able to do that. Don't laugh at it until you try it. I'm telling you, it gives you freedom. It gives you so much freedom to be able to know where it is and when it is that you're supposed to be focusing, and it makes you highly productive. So, immediate feedback. Okay, how many of you have to mow a lawn? I have to mow a lawn. It's one of the most rewarding things that I do. Why? Because I get immediate feedback about the fact that I'm getting it done. I go and I push the lawnmower, and then what happens? The lawn is mowed. Immediate feedback. Way to go, Chris. You're getting the lawn mowed. Okay. So immediate feedback is huge. And then this is the other one, the challenge skills ratio. Now, what is that? The challenge skills ratio, okay, means that we need to be challenging ourselves just enough that we don't get bored, but it doesn't surpass our skills so much that we get overwhelmed and we quit. So we have to find that challenge skills ratio, okay? And this is very important. So what's the perfect clear goal? One that is 4% greater than your skills. 4% greater than your skills, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when I talk to people, for example, about the spiritual life and growing daily in virtue, it's about one small, concrete, doable resolution. And you do that, and then you move on and you build upon that and build upon that. That's your 4%. In the same way, it's about you cultivating skills, and it's about you being able to have a goal and you incrementally do it over time. So the challenge skills ratio, these are all internal triggers that we can use in order to step into flow. So what are some environmental triggers? Well, high consequences. You and I, we all know if we've got a project that we got to be about, okay, and we got a deadline, man, the dopamine is going because there is a serious consequence. And so it's important that a high consequence, okay, does not necessarily mean physical risk. Okay, it means that there is some sort of social danger as well. So for example, not getting the work project done, you're going to be embarrassed. There's going to be some consequences. That also is a motivator, an external motivator. Okay, another is a rich environment. So this is where novelty, unpredictability, and complexity all come in. And this means that we don't necessarily know what's going to happen next. Complexity helps and makes and forces our brain to expand its capacity. And what happens is that we'll get sucked up into the beauty and magnitude of what we're contemplating. Then all of a sudden time slows down, the moment stretches out. This is what we're talking about here. Okay. And then a trip into nature. What's a great example of this? A trip into nature. Natural environments are full of novelty and unpredictability and complexity. They're full of it. So for us to get outside, is huge. It does huge things for our creativity and ourselves. And deep embodiment. This is where we have an expanded physical awareness of who we are and how we're connected to the cosmos, and when multiple senses are engaged in a task. So for kinetic learners, this is something that's really natural for people, when you're a kinetic learner, because that's how you learn. You learn through your body being engaged in the task at hand. But when we are, a Montessori method is another way of that intrinsic motivation and learning through doing. So this is where a deep embodiment comes. Now there's 3 different triggers for creativity. Okay, pattern recognition. And the way that we develop pattern recognition is by pouring in information, okay, from unrelated subjects. So this is where us learning about things that might seem to not have any connection to what it is that we're, our job is. This is where we pursue our passions and we delve into our hobbies and our interests. And those help us become better at our jobs, better at whatever it is that we're doing, because then we're able to see these correlations. We're able to see these random patterns, that pattern recognition, we're able to see them. Another is we have to learn to think differently. And when we learn to think differently, that means that instead of tackling a problem the same old way, rather what we do is that we go at it kind of like from backwards or sideways, or we stretch our imagination in order to be able to do this. And then the third is that we have to make creativity a value and a virtue. We have to value creativity, and we have to strive to try and cultivate it in our lifetime, in our life. So we have several social triggers. These social triggers also will help lead into group flow. So if you're working with a group, these triggers can help everyone move into flow and do a group project really, really well. So some of them are similar to the interior triggers that I talked about before. And so complete concentration, for example, okay, this is where everyone is, getting into flow. We're all focused on our tasks at hand. Shared clear goals. We all know what it is that we're striving for. Shared risk. All of us have a consequence if we aren't able to get a project done, for example. Close listening. We have to be attentive to one another. We have to be focused upon one another. We have good, and this is where good communication comes in. Blending egos. Great sports teams, okay, are a blending of egos. Everyone really loved the series The Last Dance. If you're a sports fan, The Last Dance was about the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls and their championship run. And that was an example of blended egos. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, I mean, everybody, okay? That was what it was all about, is blended egos. Also, equal participation. What does that mean? It means that everybody needs to have the opportunity to be able to participate and to contribute. So it has to be equal participation. Familiarity, this is where there's a shared knowledge base. So having a common language and communication style. And teams can use all sorts of different things in order to create this. But when you have that going on, when you're able to speak the same language, this is where engineers can speak to engineers. And, so I was in the military, and there's a common shared language, let me tell you. So that's very important. And so that's what comes with familiarity. Also a sense of control. And this is where it combines autonomy, that interior trigger, with being free to do with what you want, with competence, being good at what you do. So that's a sense of control. And then finally, this is what really gets people into flow, is to always say yes. And what does that mean? That means, so you see this with improv comedians, of where they'll start with something, kind of totally nuts. And then they're like, oh, yes. And they build on it. And yes. And so we're always looking for, when we're in a group, we're always looking for what's possible in addition to what's just been proposed. So not thinking in negatives of, is it possible or not, but rather take it and jump on it and continue to build on it. So that's how we all get into flow. So real simply, how do we get into flow? What are the keys to living in flow? Well, we need to build flow triggers into every aspect of our life. That's what we need to do. We need to have a flow trigger or two that's going on in every aspect of our life. So that way we're able to be able to do things like training risks. So we get better at those things that we're not quite so good at. And we train risks. We train to failure, for example. So this is what it means to step up. And hey, everybody, thanks for jumping on. I really appreciate it. This is what it means to, like, the basketball player and doing refusing to leave practice until they have hit those 10 free throws in a row, and they're tired. And but it's something that they're training risk. Seeking out novelty, seeking out things that are different, tightening your feedback loops. In other words, don't wait to get feedback, at the end of the week, go and seek out that feedback now. If as you're working on a project, go and send the email, say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Or pick up the phone or jump on a Zoom call. This is, so tighten up your feedback loops. That's how we can live in flow. Continuously stocking that pattern recognition system. So you're continuously seeking out new information and new ways to look at things, so that when you are confronted with the same old, you're not going to think at it and think like it's the same old, but rather come at it differently, because you're recognizing patterns differently. That whole, always practice, always doing the say yes game. You can do that in your personal relationships and see where that takes you. Practice ego blending whenever you're in a conversation with someone, and the possibilities are limitless. You can go on and on and on, different ways that you can take flow triggers and integrate them into your life, so that way you're able to experience that life of purpose and peace and abundance. So that way you're able to be productive more than 500%. So what I want to do right now is, because we've done a lot of content and I know everybody's been scribbling, down. What I want to do right now is I want to take 5 minutes. Okay. I want to take 5 minutes. And what I want to do is I want to give you one of 3 different exercises for you to do. And I'm giving you 3 different exercises to do, because you each have something different of the flow cycle, okay, of the unhackability cycle that you need to try and address. So is what you're struggling with envisioning the fact that you can be transformed, that your life can be transformed? Is that that's what you need to focus on? Or is it the fact that you need to be able to create focus, that you're getting distracted and you're not able to create crystal clear focus on what it is that you want to be doing? Or is your challenge that you don't know how to create space for your transformation? So what I'm going to do is that if you're struggling with envisioning transformation, here's what I want you to do for the next 5 minutes. Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and I want you to write down your idea, the one that you have been putting off. Okay. And what I want you to do is I want you to set an action. I want you to write down an action that you're going to do in order to bring about your dream. And I want you to then set a delivery date, a time that you're going to accomplish it by, and then assign a penalty. Okay. So very simply, this is a boon contract exercise is what this is. So I want you to set, what is it I'm going to do? When am I going to do it by? And what's the penalty if I don't do it? Okay. So that's for you. If you're trying to figure out, can I do this? That's your exercise right now. Go. If you're trying to create focus, okay. If you're trying to create focus, then what you need to do is you need to go on an information diet. And what does that mean? It means that you need to stop looking at all sorts of stuff until you actually apply it. And so a diet, D-I-E-T, okay? A diet means that you determine, where do you want to go? What's your goal? Okay? Identify, who is it that's getting the results that you want? Who is it that's getting the results that you want? E, eliminate the empty calories. In other words, I want you to eliminate all those things, all that information that isn't helping you be able to go where you want to go and get the results that you want. Okay, you're going to focus on you're going to identify who's getting the results and you're going to focus on them. And that's what the T is. Turn your focus only on the people that are getting the results you want. And until you get every single value, okay, out of watching them, learning from them, and then applying it, then you get to move on. But until then, you're on a diet, okay? And you're only going to be watching that person, okay, or people that are getting the results that you want. So you determine, where do you want to go? Identify who's getting the results, eliminate anyone else, and T, turn your focus only after you've gotten every bit of information and value that you can from the person you're focusing on and applied it to your life, then you move on. That's what you need to do in order to get focus. Okay. And then how do you create space? Well, I love this exercise because I have to do it. Okay. Do, delegate, or dump. So what you do is you go through all the things that you're doing right now. And you say, okay, are these things that I have to do? Or can I delegate them? Or can I dump them? Many times there's things that we're doing in our life that we don't have to do. Someone else can do them. Now, we might have to train someone else to do them. We might have to instruct them to do it, but we can delegate it so we can get it off our plate. Or it might be something that's been on our to-do list for a long time. And we're like, oh, I'll eventually get around to it. Like, that stack of books that's in the corner. Okay, that's great. But sometimes we just need to say, okay, no, I'm setting it aside. Why? Because I need to get focused on what it is that I need to do. But this is how we create space. We free up space. We need space in order to create. So if you needed to create space, that's what you're going to do during this next few minutes. So one of the most important things that you can do, okay, is being able to identify what aspect of the unhackability cycle am I struggling with? Is it the idea and committing to my idea? Is it getting focused on how to bring about my idea? Or is it I don't have space to bring my idea into reality? So go ahead and take 2 minutes to do that. I can go ahead and give you a couple of minutes in order to focus on that. And I'm really encouraging you to either be doing that boon contract exercise, to be setting up your diet, okay, or doing do, delegate, or dump. And it's super, super important, for all of us to be attentive to all these different things so that way we can bring about the unhackability cycle into our life and to really step into all of what it is that God desires for each and every one of us. So I'm super excited. For those of you who might have already done that, go ahead and give me some comments, give me some love. Let me know what your questions are at this point, because I'm getting ready to kind of wrap it up. I want to be very attentive to your time tonight. Yeah, dumping all the toxicity and those who don't accept me or love me. That's that's great. That's awesome. So that's not going to be distracting you anymore. That's for sure. That's awesome. I love that. Go ahead and share in the chat, share in the comments if you want. And it's absolutely great. I'm loving this stuff. You guys are doing awesome. And this is how we begin to step into flow. So that way we can be 500% productive. But this is how we begin to close that gap between dreaming and doing. And that's what Unhackable is all about. Unhackable is all about being able to accomplish our dreams. And so as you guys are continuing that, here's a couple of examples. A couple of people, last year, Wendy Gentry, she wanted to complete her PhD. She wanted her dream job. She wanted to start a podcast. All three of these, that could be huge. But she wanted all three of those. And what did she do in the last year after applying the principles of Unhackable? Okay. She completed her PhD, she landed her dream job, and she launched her podcast. She accomplished all three of them. You are most welcome, Crystal. Not at all. This is what I love to do. I love to help people be able to close that gap between dreaming and doing. I love to help people be able to experience that life of purpose and peace and abundance. This is what God wants for us. This is what God wants for us. So I love helping people be able to do that. And I want everyone to know you're capable of being able to do it. Hey, Sophia, thanks so much for jumping on. So what was it? So Wendy is one case in point. someone who was able to apply these principles, and she was able to accomplish what some people only don't accomplish, but like in their lifetime. Okay. And she was able to accomplish in a year. All right. So, Laura, so she wanted to expand the ministry that she does for grieving parents. She wanted to host a virtual summit, and she also wanted to increase her speaking engagements, even in the midst of the pandemic. Okay. She became a national speaker. She did it virtually, but she still became a national speaker. She hosted her own virtual summit, and she wrote 2 books, not 1, but 2. Okay. So one of the biggest things about, all of this is the fact that when we are striving to become unhackable, okay, we're going to go through fits and starts, and we're not going to be able to apply everything, and we're going to be struggling to figure it out. And one of the biggest things is that we need to get rid of resistance. We need to be making sure that we're cultivating the process. So these last couple of trainings tonight, for example, this is an event. This, hopefully this is helping you, it's motivating you, but it's a one-time, event on the calendar. Hopefully this is challenging you, to make a decision to go after, your dreams, and to start making them, come into reality. God has entrusted each and every one of you with a specific, particular mission that no one else can do. No one else can do this. And so it's inherent upon us to respond to that invitation to become who He created us to be, and to do what it is that we desire to do. That's awesome, Crystal. If you want to be a speaker someday, I'm telling you, stop doing the someday and start doing what you need to do in order to become that speaker today. So it's not a someday. You can take a step. So this is what, Unhackable will help you do. And that's why it's a process. Unhackability is a process that you learn, that encourages you to develop. Okay. It helps you mature in your skills and in your own abilities and your awareness. And it changes people. It transforms people. That's what processes do. Programs and events, they're great. They motivate us. They challenge us. They help us, but they don't transform us. And that's a part of why I became an Unhackable coach, is because it's not a one-time event. Rather, this is a process that people can learn. So it's that whole adage about, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man how to fish, and he can feed himself for a lifetime. And that's what Unhackability can do for you. So again, I'm going back to that question that I started with, which is, what would you need to have happen in your life to make these next 30 days your most amazing month on earth? And I contend that by becoming unhackable, that is what would make your next 30 days most amazing on earth, and then thereafter. So real simple. Let's talk about you guys. All right. Today's training event is only a tip of the iceberg. All right. I can't go into even a quarter of what is contained, not just in the Unhackable book, but then also in the training. And the training that I'm talking about is the Elixir Project Experience. Okay. It's based on the book, but it is 30 days of video training. Okay. That's sent to you each and every day. It's a EPX guidebook where every single day you have exercises to walk through. You're going to get 5 exclusive training webinars in order to help you be able to apply the trainings each and every day. And it gets you one-on-one weekly coaching with me in order to get through and get rid of all resistance, so that way you're able to apply all of the principles into your life and integrate them. And also, you get a 30-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee that if you do the work and you're not 100% satisfied at the end, I'm handing your money back. I don't want your money, okay, unless you're getting results. So that's as simple as it is. So a lot of people are like, well, how much does it cost, Christina? Give me the bottom line up front. My question back is, how much is your dream worth? How much is it worth to you? We're not willing to invest ourselves and our money and our time, time, talent, treasure. We're not willing to go all in, then how much is our dream worth? How much is it worth? Wendy, she talked about the fact that this program, Unhackable, was the key to helping me identify my boon and translate it into an online business podcast framework, and I'm excited to nurture them. I'll be joining in January with a focus on a component of my launch. I'll be launching in January with a focus, on my launch. So it made a huge difference for her. It made a huge difference for her. It was life changing. Again, what's the cost of us getting hacked? Our relationships get hacked. Our success gets hacked. Our health, our purpose, our finances, the joy, the peace that we experience, all of that, it all gets hacked when we're not becoming who it is exactly that we're supposed to be. So again, what's it cost? Very simply, it's $997. I can tell you right now, that's 50% off. Normally this is $1997, but very simply, it's 50% off. That includes the 30 days of video training. That's valued alone at $997. Just the videos alone are $997. The guidebook, that itself is $497. The guidebook for every single day. The training webinars, that too is worth $997. Okay. That coaching, that one-on-one weekly coaching with me, that's $12.97. You get those weekly coaching calls with me. Normally it's $500, or and when people will sign up for several sessions with me, then I knock it down. But that's $12.97 to have a month-long one-on-one weekly coaching, hour-long coaching sessions with me. So very simply, and again, it's that 30-day 100% guarantee. If you aren't satisfied by after you've done the work, then I'm handing your money back. I don't want it. Okay. So I want you to be transformed. I want you to have the process to be able to take your dream and close that gap between dreaming and doing. That's as simple as it gets. Okay. So if you want to sign up, if you want to do this, if you want to do the Elixir Project experience, then go to sayyes2holiness.com and click on, sayyes2holiness.com/movement. Okay. And then go down to Unhackable, and you're able to sign up right then. So this is your opportunity to get this half price and to be able to go and to sign up. So sayyes2holiness.com/the-movement. I'll put it in the chat, and you just scroll down and you just click on Become Unhackable, purchase the course now, and it will take you right to the sales page and tells you exactly what you get, exactly what I just listed off for you right now. So if you go to www.sayyes2holiness.com/the-movement, that will take you right to the sales page, and it lists out what I just talked about. So if somebody would do me a favor and type that into the comments in Instagram, that would be great as well. So one other thing that I will do. Okay. So a lot of people might be going, Christina, I want to do this, but I just can't do that right now. I just don't have the financial resources to do that right now. Well, very simply, what I'm going to do is that I will do a group. Okay. I'll do 4 group sessions. I'll do it as a group, 45 minutes each session. Okay. And what we'll do is that I'm going to put the work on you. So I'll send you the Unhackable book. Okay. I'll send you the Unhackable book, or you can get a copy, whichever is easier. And then I will have 4 group sessions, and I will have them at key points during the 30 days that you're going through Unhackable. So it's so the way the chapters are is that it's day 1, day 2. Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll set up those 4 sessions so that we'll have a start date. And then I will have after, day 8, we'll have a session, day 17, we'll have a session, etc. Okay. So normally any kind of group coaching like that is $500. Anytime it's $500, okay. But tonight, what I'll do is that if you want to do this, I can do it for $347. So if you want to do that, then what I need you to do is I need you to DM me. Okay. I need you to reach out to me and say, Christina, I want the group coaching. And then what I'll do is I'll send you a link in order for us to set that up. Okay. So you got the choices. You can go all in and do the Elixir Project Experience, and you can go to www.sayyes-the-movement. Okay. That takes you right to the sales page. Thanks. I appreciate that, Dewana. I appreciate you putting that in there. Okay. In the Instagram chat. You can go right there. All right. Or if you're going, I really want to do this. I really want to dive deep into Unhackable. Okay. I really want to be present and to learn this process. Then get you the book and I'll take you through the book. Okay. And we'll do those 4 group sessions. And what we'll do is that'll cost you only $347. And I'm going to walk you through the book. So you're still going to get group coaching. You're still going to be able to, to have me walk you through it. You're still be able to learn that process. You're not going to be totally on your own. You're still going to be able to have me, check in your day-to-day activities. But you're not going to have that one-on-one time, and you're not going to have all the videos that come. You're not going to get the guidebook. It's okay. It's a good way to start, but if you go all in, then you're getting that one-on-one time with me. You're getting that opportunity to be able to really dive deep. And if you did want to go deep, if you did want to do the Elixir Project Experience, what I'll do is I'll toss in a couple of bonuses for you. Okay. One is I'll toss in an M-code assessment for you. And that's anyone who signs up for either the Elixir Project Experience or the small group. I'll toss in an M-code assessment. And what is the M-code? The M-code is a motivation code. It gives you your motivational core blueprint. What it does is that it helps you be able to identify what is it that motivates you, which is really important for us having the big picture when we're especially trying to integrate flow triggers into our life. Okay. So the motivation code, it gives us our big purpose. It helps us be able to identify and get very clear about what are those things that really motivate me. And so I can get really clear. And so I'll toss that in as a bonus. Yeah. Okay. So I'll toss that in as a bonus. So that's one. And then the second bonus I can toss in is the Unhackable audio book. Is that I can send you a link and you can get an Unhackable audio book. So guys, anybody who wants to jump in and get coaching on Unhackable tonight, going the full Elixir Project Experience or the small group, I'll toss in both those bonuses just for you guys. Okay. So any questions, anything that you got? We're up. Our hour is up. My time with you guys has been awesome. I have absolutely loved it. You are so welcome. I've really enjoyed spending time with everybody out there. Really looking forward to seeing you guys on the inside of the Elixir Project Experience, and also having a small group with you guys as well. Just reach out and direct message me on Instagram, or send me a message through Facebook, or you can send me an email, christinasimmons@gmail.com. Okay. So any of those ways you want to be a part of that small group, just reach out to me and let me know. It's been a pleasure. It's been really great. Thank you so much for all of your time, and have a super blessed day. Okay. It's one of those of where I have to figure out how to turn everything off. So have a great one. God bless.